The cult camp killer Jason Voorhees has an impressive, if not a bit ridiculous, number of movies under his belt, and an even more impressive body count. But how many times has Jason Voorhees kicked the bucket himself? Let's go through each movie and find out, shall we? In 1957, at Camp Crystal Lake, a deformed camper named Jason Voorhees drowns in the lake because the counsellors were too distracted with each other's body parts to do their jobs apparently. And so this would be the first time that Jason Voorhees kicked the bucket. This is the event that motivates Jason's mother, Pamela Voorhees, to take revenge and return to Camp Crystal Lake to kill all the counsellors. Unrelated, but she kills this guy too. Look at those shorts. Can you really blame her? Jason seems to return at the end of the film when final girl Alice Hardy is doing a lake victory lap after beheading Pamela Voorhees, but this might just be her imagination. Jason would actually return in part 2, wearing a burlap sack. Probably got fashion advice from his mother, let's be fair, look at that sweater. He wreaks havoc at Camp Crystal Lake by killing a bunch of teenagers, including wheelchair-bound Mark Jarvis. Damn, this is harsh. No bias from Jason here. Jason does get hacked through the collar and left for dead towards the end, but I'm not going to count it as a death, and not just because of the ambiguous jump scare at the end of the movie, but just because I can't imagine this being enough to really end Jason. He's also straight back up for part 3, gaining his iconic hockey mask and game-ending a bunch of other teenagers, including this chick, in 3D! Jason gets battered in this entry, hung and axed in the face. Final girl Chris Higgins dreams him and his mother back to life for a sequence, but we later see Jason's corpse lifeless in the barn, the second time Jason Voorhees would kick the bucket. Jason respawns in a coroner's office in part 4 all of a sudden and kills some medical staff, but obviously this wouldn't be a new setting for Friday the 13th, as he promptly returns to the woods to, you guessed it, off more teenagers, unfortunately including legendary dancer Crispin Glover. Why would you kill that groove, Jason? Just look at him go. After getting 50 Shades of Black and Blue beaten out of him again, Jason Voorhees finally kicks the bucket for a third time when Tommy Jarvis chops away at his face at the end of the movie. Amazingly, Jason stays dead in part 5, and vengeful ambulance worker Roy Burns uses Jason's image to kill a ton of teenagers and adults. Seems every age is flare game for Roy. Am I right? I'm sorry. Roy gets spiked, which doesn't count because Jason doesn't die, just his public image. Jason is resurrected by lightning in part 6, I'm not kidding, and goes on a supernatural zombie killing spree. One of my favourite characters in the whole series, Sheriff Garris, gets you banged towards the end, until an older Tommy Jarvis lures Jason into the lake by calling him Pussy! Jason gets forced to the bottom of the lake by a rock and chain and gets a boat propeller to his neck. I'm going to say he kicks the bucket for a 4th time here. I know they show his eye open at the end, but they've showed Jason's new strength throughout part 6. Enough strength to break out of the chain that's holding him to the bottom of the lake. A place he remains until part 7 when someone else pulls him out of telekinesis. I doubt he just sat there for however long without breaking the chain, so I'm saying he died. Sue me. In part 7, telekinetic LePark Lincoln accidentally resurrects Jason from his big sleep with mind powers. Once again, going on a supernatural zombie killing spree, and I mean zombie. Dr. Cruz is cruising through a bruising when he gets mowed down by Mr. Voorhees, before the madman himself is electrocuted, headbutted, set on fire, and blown up before being dragged into the lake by a zombie dad and drowned again. Counting this as he needs to be resurrected with electricity in part 8. So Jason kicks the bucket for an unbelievable 5th time here. Brought back to life by an electric current from a pierced power line, Jason floats his way to a cruise ship that just happens to be full of teenagers, that he hacks his way through all the way to Manhattan, where he knocks this kid's block off. He's eventually melted and burned to death with toxic waste. Kicking the bucket for the 6th time. He turns back into a child? Is that his ghost? What? In the hands of New Line Cinema, Jason is miraculously alive again, but immediately gets demolished by gunfire and an explosive, thanks to the FBI. His heart does appear to be beating now and then, but he's in pieces, so this is Jason's 7th kicked bucket. His soul passes through several people who he uses to kill again before he's reborn through his half-dead sister. What is this plot? This dude also melts, and eventually Jason is literally dragged to hell by demons, which is kicking the bucket if I've ever seen it. In the year 2455, Jason is found cryogenically frozen, not dead, but don't worry, after being taken into space by a ship full of adults and of course horny teenagers, Jason falls out and continues the body count until Jason's bucket is kicked by an android lady who shoots him to bits before blowing his head off. Luckily for Jason, and no one else, nanobots bring him back to life in a new shiny packaging. A great death happens. Sorry again. Eventually, Uber Jason is tackled through space and burns up on impact before whatever's left of him crashes on Earth too, leaving only his mask behind. The comics are a separate form of media we'll probably get into later, but this original series of Friday movies pretty much end here before Freddy vs. Jason and the reboot. So this is the 10th kicked bucket as far as I'm concerned. Going back to when Jason was taken to hell, the maniac is reinvigorated back to life when Freddy, disguised as Jason's mother, taunts him to kill again. And just like that, Jason is dashing and slashing his way through Springwood and launches a machete through some dude as a Burning Man! Freddy gets jealous of Jason's kill streak and a huge battle ensues, with both sides getting some good hits in before Jason turns up the victor. What, he doesn't die again? Next time we see Jason is in a reboot of the series, meaning it's a new Jason who drowns as a child. You're goddamn right, I'm counting that. Most of the remake cuts to the chase and features a grown-up Jason hacking up hot teenagers again, including this one guy who gets chewy with Jason and eventually gets screwed. By the end of this endeavour, Jason is hung, drawn and has his head quartered, but as evidenced in the final scare, nothing kills this guy. And that is that. Over the span of an impressive 12 movie run, Jason has kicked the bucket 11 damn times. With this level of invincibility, I'm sure we'll see him on the big screen again someday. Know of any other miraculous masked maniacs who just won't stay down? Let me know in the comments for the next episode, though I doubt Jason will be dethroned anytime soon. Thanks for watching. This is just how I interpret the series going down. If you disagree and you think Jason died less times, more times, then let me know in the comments in a constructive way. Obviously this is all just opinion based. If you like the episode, go ahead and give it a like, I'd appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next cruise ship to Manhattan.
Nita?
Hey, baby.
Ooh, baby.
Hey, baby.
Ooh, baby.
Hey, baby.
Ooh, baby.
Hey, baby.
Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby.
Ooh, baby. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Hey, baby.
It's them damn enchiladas.